She said, "It's just a prank. Don't be so sensitive," after pouring a drink on me for TikTok. I said, "You're right." What I did the next day got millions of views, but she wasn't laughing anymore. I, 24M, thought I knew my girlfriend. We'd been together for 2 years, living together for 6 months. She was always the creative type, constantly making content for her social media channels. I supported it because it made her happy and brought in decent money. I never imagined that support would bite me in the ass the way it did. It happened on a Tuesday evening. I'd just gotten home from a brutal 12-hour shift at the warehouse. My back was killing me, my clothes were dusty, and all I wanted was a shower and some food. I walked into our apartment to find her setting up her phone on the kitchen counter, ring light positioned perfectly, multiple drinks laid out like some kind of buffet. She greeted me with that bright smile she always wore when she was about to film something. I should have seen it coming. The way her eyes lit up when she saw my tired, disheveled state. The way she quickly glanced at her phone to make sure it was recording. Before I could even ask what she was doing, she grabbed a full glass of what looked like orange juice mixed with something sticky and threw it directly at my face. The cold liquid hit me like a slap, soaking through my work shirt, dripping down my chin onto my steel-toed boots. For a moment, I just stood there, stunned, orange pulp sliding down my cheek. The smell hit me next. It wasn't just juice. She'd mixed it with honey and something else that made it thick and sticky. It was already starting to make my skin feel tacky and uncomfortable. I asked her what the hell she was doing, and she just laughed, pointing at her phone. She told me it was for TikTok, that everyone was doing drink pranks on their boyfriends, and that she thought it would be hilarious. The way she said it, like my humiliation was just content for her followers to consume. I stood there, sticky orange mess dripping onto our kitchen floor, and told her this wasn't funny. I explained that I'd just worked a double shift, that I was exhausted, and that the last thing I needed was to be covered in whatever concoction she'd created for internet points. That's when she said it. She rolled her eyes and told me it was just a prank, that I shouldn't be so sensitive. Her tone was dismissive, like my feelings were an inconvenience to her creative process. She added that if I couldn't take a joke, maybe I wasn't the right person for her. Something cold settled in my chest at those words. Not anger, not hurt, something calculating. I looked at her standing there with her phone still recording, completely pleased with herself, and I told her she was right. I said I was being too sensitive and that I should lighten up. The change in her expression was immediate. She'd expected a fight, maybe for me to storm off so she could film a follow-up about dramatic boyfriends. Instead, I just smiled and asked if she got the shot she needed. She seemed confused but nodded, ending the recording. She mentioned something about editing it later and posting it with some trending sound. I just nodded and headed to the bathroom to clean up, my mind already working on something she'd never see coming. I spent that entire shower thinking. She'd humiliated me for content, dismissed my feelings when I objected, and basically told me to deal with it or leave. The sticky mess took 20 minutes to wash out of my hair, and the whole time I was scrubbing, I was planning. See, she didn't know about my own social media presence. I'd been building a following on TikTok for months, posting about my warehouse job, workout routines, and general life stuff. Nothing huge, but I had about 50,000 followers who seemed to genuinely engage with my content. She never paid attention to my phone or what I posted. She was too wrapped up in her own online world. That night, while she edited her video in the living room, I sat in our bedroom and created something special. I screen recorded her video from her phone when she wasn't looking. She'd left it open while getting a snack. Then I filmed my response. I started with the original video, letting my followers see exactly what she'd done. My face getting hit with that sticky orange mess, the shock in my eyes, the way I tried to maintain my composure. Then I cut to me, cleaned up, speaking directly to the camera. I told my followers about coming home from a 12-hour shift. I explained how I supported her content creation, how I'd helped her set up shots before, how I'd never asked her to include me in anything that would make me uncomfortable. I talked about respect in relationships, about boundaries, about how it's just a prank was becoming an excuse for genuine cruelty. But here's where I got creative. Instead of just complaining, I turned it into a teaching moment about consequences. I explained that I was going to show her what a real prank looked like, one that didn't involve humiliation or dismissing someone's feelings. I posted it at midnight with the caption, "When your girlfriend thinks disrespecting you is content." Part 2 coming tomorrow. I used trending hashtags, relationship tags, everything I could think of to maximize reach. I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. The video had blown up overnight, 2 million views and climbing. The comments were incredible. Thousands of people sharing their own stories about partners who crossed boundaries for social media. Others offering suggestions for my promised part 2. She was still asleep, phone charging in the living room, completely unaware that her prank had backfired spectacularly. I made coffee and started planning phase 2. When she woke up, she immediately grabbed her phone to check how her video was performing. I watched from the kitchen as her face went from sleepy to confused to angry. Her video had a few thousand views and a comment section full of people calling her out. Someone had found her account through mine and let her know exactly what they thought of her prank. She stormed into the kitchen demanding to know what I'd done. I calmly explained that I'd simply shared my perspective on the situation. I told her that people seemed interested in hearing both sides of the story and that I was planning to post an update today. The way her face changed was almost worth the sticky orange mess from the night before. She realized that her attempt to humiliate me for content had backfired, and now she was the one being judged by thousands of strangers. She tried to convince me to delete the video, saying it would hurt her brand. She mentioned how hard she'd worked to build her following, how this could damage her reputation. The irony wasn't lost on me. Now she cared about reputation and consequences. I told her I'd consider it, but first I wanted to film the follow-up I'd promised. She reluctantly agreed, probably hoping she could control the narrative. Update 1. Part 2 was where things got really interesting. Instead of attacking her directly, I decided to show the contrast between respect and disrespect in relationships. I set up my phone in the kitchen, the same spot where she'd filmed her prank. I started by addressing my followers, thanking them for the overwhelming support. Then I did something she never expected. I pranked her back, but in a way that highlighted the difference between harmless fun and humiliation. I'd spent the morning preparing her favorite breakfast, pancakes shaped like hearts, fresh strawberries, the works. I filmed myself setting it up, explaining that this was what a loving surprise looked like. No humiliation, no dismissing feelings, just doing something nice because I cared about her. When she came into the kitchen, suspicious about why I was filming, I told her I'd made her breakfast. Her confusion was visible as she looked between the beautiful plate and my phone. She asked what the catch was, and I explained there wasn't one. This was just me showing my followers what healthy relationship behavior looked like. The contrast was stark. Her video showed her throwing a sticky mess at her tired boyfriend and dismissing his feelings. Mine showed thoughtful preparation and genuine care. I didn't have to say a word about which approach was better. The difference spoke for itself. But I wasn't done. While she ate, I talked to the camera about how real pranks should work. They should be harmless, easily reversible, and something everyone can laugh about afterward. I mentioned how the best pranks punch up, not down, and never target someone's insecurities or vulnerabilities. Then came the real kicker. I revealed that I'd been documenting our relationship dynamic for weeks, not for social media, but because I'd been noticing patterns. The drink incident wasn't isolated. It was part of a larger trend where my feelings and boundaries were consistently dismissed for the sake of her content. I showed clips I'd secretly recorded on my phone, her pressuring me to participate in challenges that made me uncomfortable, her posting videos of me without asking permission, her dismissing my concerns about privacy and boundaries because it's just social media. Each clip was damning in its own way, showing a pattern of behavior that went far beyond one drink-throwing incident. The comments section exploded with people sharing similar experiences and praising me for standing up for myself. The video hit 5 million views within hours. Major social media accounts started sharing it. Relationship experts began using it as an example of healthy boundary setting. My follower count jumped to over 500,000 overnight. She watched her own social media presence crumble in real time. Brands started pulling sponsorship deals. Her follower count dropped as people migrated to my content instead. The power dynamic in our relationship had completely flipped. Update 2. The aftermath was swift and brutal. She tried damage control, posting a tearful apology video claiming she'd learned her lesson and just wanted to make people laugh. But the internet had already made up its mind. Comments flooded in pointing out that her apology only came after facing consequences, not after I'd initially expressed my discomfort. Major drama channels picked up the story. YouTube commentary creators made deep dive videos analyzing our relationship dynamic. The original prank video became a cautionary tale about consent and respect in relationships. She begged me to help her salvage her reputation, to post something supportive that would calm the storm. I told her I'd consider it, but first she needed to genuinely understand why what she'd done was wrong. Not just that it had backfired, but why it was fundamentally disrespectful. That conversation revealed everything I needed to know. She kept focusing on the consequences rather than the action itself. She was upset that she'd been caught and called out, not that she'd hurt me. When I pressed her to explain why throwing a drink at someone for content was wrong, she struggled to give an answer that didn't center her own embarrassment. I realized then that this wasn't someone I could build a life with. Someone who only understood respect when forced to face public consequences wasn't someone who would respect me in private when no one was watching. The final video I posted wasn't dramatic or vindictive. I simply explained that after a lot of reflection, I'd realized we weren't compatible. I thanked my followers for their support and mentioned that I'd learned valuable lessons about boundaries and self-respect. I didn't trash her publicly or reveal more embarrassing details I could have shared. I took the high road, which somehow made the contrast between our approaches even more stark. People respected that I'd made my point without crossing lines or seeking unnecessary revenge. Update 3. 6 months later, I'm in a much better place. The social media attention opened doors I never expected, brand partnerships, speaking opportunities about healthy relationships, even a small book deal about standing up for yourself in the digital age. She eventually rebuilt her following, though it's much smaller now and focused on different content. She learned to ask permission before featuring anyone in her videos and reportedly treats her new boyfriend with much more respect. Sometimes people do learn from consequences, even if they learn the hard way. The whole experience taught me that respect isn't negotiable in relationships. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to accept treatment that doesn't match your worth. My current girlfriend thinks the whole story is hilarious, especially the part where I made heart-shaped pancakes while delivering a lesson about relationship respect. She's asked to be featured in my content a few times, and I always check with her before posting anything. It's amazing how easy respect is when both people actually value it. The sticky orange mess that started this whole thing? I've never been able to drink orange juice since without remembering that moment when I realized my relationship was over. I just didn't know it yet. Sometimes the universe has a weird way of showing you exactly where you stand with someone. Looking back, I'm almost grateful for that prank. It gave me clarity I'd been avoiding and the push I needed to demand better for myself. Plus, the whole experience makes for a pretty good story at parties. The internet never forgets, and every few months someone discovers the videos and shares them again. It's become a recurring reminder that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are exactly what someone deserves. She was right about one thing. I shouldn't have been so sensitive. I should have recognized the red flags earlier and acted sooner. But in the end, I got the last laugh, and more importantly, I got my self-respect back.